Hi, Rosie Dupan here, and today's video is all about pelvic pain. So whether you've got pelvic pain at the front, SPG, or whether you've got sacroiliac pain or coccyx pain, these series of exercises will really help to relieve that. So the first thing I want you to think about is where you hold your pelvis. If you have a tendency to tuck your pelvis underneath you, it's going to put a lot of strain on all the bones and joints of your pelvis. So I really want you to think about untucking your pelvis. You want to find your, put your hands on your hips and find your hip bones, find your pubic bone, and you want to be able to have a line between those. You don't want your pelvic bone to be more forward of your hip bones or the reverse and far behind your hip bones. So this is a time to just have a little bit of a play and see where you are wearing your pelvis normally. It really helps with this to get rid of any heels on your shoes. So how your shoes as flat can be will really help you with getting your pelvis in alignment. If you've got heeled shoes on, it won't matter what you do, you won't be able to get your pelvis in alignment. The next thing to think about is whether you thrust your chest forwards. This is also going to put pressure on the lower back, and it's also going to put pressure down into your pelvis. So think about doing and again, the way to feel this is hands on the hips to find your pelvis bones, find your ribs, and feel if your ribs come further forward than your pelvic bone. If it does, just think about doing a little tiny crunch just with the first couple of inches of muscles at the top of your in your abdomen here at the top, and that just brings those ribs back into alignment. It'll also help to tone your abdominal muscles and get them functioning and firing normally. So those are 2 alignment points to really work on. The next thing we're going to think about doing is a calf stretch. So you're going to grab a half dome. So you're going to grab your half dome. You're going to stand to the left hand side of it and place the ball of your right foot on the half dome and allow your feet, keep your heel on the ground and allow your toes just to wrap over the half dome. If you haven't got a half dome, then a rolled up yoga mat or a rolled up towel will work just as well. Now you need to make sure that you keep your feet pointing straight forwards and keep the weight in the back of your heels. You don't want to be leaning forward like this with this stretch. Bring the weight back. If you need to, just hold on to a wall, or you could do this with your back against the wall just to give you that extra bit of support. And I want you to hold this for up to a minute and do it on both sides. So once you've done it for, it might be 20, 30 seconds on one side, then go over and do the exercise on the other side. The next thing is to do a double calf stretch, which also stretches the hamstrings. So you want a stool or a chair or the back of a sofa, anything that gives you the right amount of height. Hinge from the hips, so we're not bending forwards and rounding the back, but you're hinging from the hips, taking your bum out behind you. You start to feel that stretch here, and place your hands on the top of the stool. If this kind of position is too low, then you can have a chair with the back up higher, or you can stick some cushions on there so that you're at a place that's comfortable, so you're not feeling extra stress. And once you're here, I want you to release your knees, so you're not gripping with your knees, but keep your legs straight, so not this. Just don't have your quads holding you up tightly. And then try and take your coccyx, your tailbone up further towards the sky. So you're really starting to release any tension here in the glutes and tension here in the hamstrings. And again, don't force it, just take it to where it's comfortable. It's a comfortable stretch. And again, hold it for up to a minute. Okay. So one thing that really helps to support your pelvis and your sacroiliac joint is to build up your glutes so that they can hold and support your pelvis. That's what they're for. That's kind of your powerhouse, your glutes. So if you've got no bum, it's really worth working on a bum, on building up that bum. And we do that with, among other things, squats. But just small squats. You don't need to go right down to the ground to build up the strength here. So again, I want you to think about, you're going to take your bum out behind you and allow your knees to bend, but you're not going to bring your knees over the front of your feet. You're going to keep your knees and your ankles in line. Don't stretch your neck out too much. Keep your neck in and keep your back flat. And you can feel your glutes firing and working just in this small squat. And then push with your feet to bring yourself up to standing, so that you're not allowing your knees to do the work, but it's all coming from your glutes. So you might find that you're just doing tiny ones at this point, and that's fine, as long as it's working your glutes. And just do about 4 or 5 repetitions of those squats. So again, bringing your bum out, your feet, your toes should be able to come off the floor. The weight's carried in your heels, knees, over your ankles, and then push down in your feet to bring yourself out of that squat. Excellent. And then the last thing is releasing any tension in your abdominal muscles, and we hold so much tension here without realizing it. But what you've got is you've got fascia, which is a connective tissue which runs from your abdominal muscles through your pelvic floor and comes and joins up either side of your coccyx and sacroiliac joint. So if you're holding tension here in your abdominal muscles, you're going to be creating tension right the way through your pelvis. So something to do is to really work on just letting it all hang out here. And sometimes that can feel, leave you feeling quite vulnerable. So sometimes it's worth going on all fours and putting lots of cushions under your stomach so you can release your tummy into it. Sometimes it's nice to wear, to tie a scarf around your abdominal muscles so you're releasing into something that's supporting those muscles. The key is to start getting used to releasing tension, and it's can be quite useful to observe when you hold tension. If something frightens you, for example, do you hold tension here? When you're anxious and nervous, are you holding tension? Maybe you you're outsourcing strength from your arms, and you're tightening your abdominal muscles in order to pick things up even. And sometimes we are just so used to holding everything in here to get a thinner tummy that is just our go-to. So abdominal release will really help with any pelvic pain. All right, so I hope those little things help. I hope you can manage to do them at least once a day, and it will really help to relieve your pelvic pain. All right, well, take care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.